Hey there, Juan Morales here, and in today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about something that's very powerful to understand, especially if you're trying to become successful in any sort of entrepreneurial field, or as an entrepreneur in general, where you have to learn a lot of things. This came from years of going through the motions and learning from different quote-unquote masters and different teachers and different people that just have the expertise of the topic at hand. So the concept is called integrating knowledge versus replacing knowledge. And here's what it means. When we jump into something, one of the biggest mistakes that we can make when we're, let's call it in the online marketing world, but really it's in any field that we decide that we want to get good at, and there's a lot of people selling expertise in, is that everybody who sells you expertise teaches you their dogma. They're basically saying their way of doing it is the only way that works. It's the only way that makes it happen. So what happens to us is that, let's say we learned something, it didn't quite work out the way we thought it would, but then we learned this new thing, and this new person comes in and tells us this is the way. So what happens is we are discarding the previous stuff that we learned because we think it doesn't work, and then we're changing it for something that does work. Now, here's what I got from doing this, is that all the time I kept spinning my wheels, because the moment that I would start getting somewhere with some idea, someone else would come along and basically sell me on their method being better than the method I was currently in. So I stopped being in the method that I was doing. I stopped performing the things that I had already trained myself to do, and then I moved on to this new body of work. And when I'm in that new body of work, now I'm learning that method, and then eventually someone comes out and tells me there's a new way of doing it that invalidates the one that I was already doing it before. And I kept chasing that dragon, kind of like a drug, from program to program to program, but not seeing any results because I kept replacing my knowledge. So everything I had learned up till then would go away. Now, what's the difference? What really gave me the difference? Well, one day I was seeing something in social media, and someone made a quote that said something along the lines of, wealthy people add income streams, broke people replace income streams. And that led me to the idea of successful entrepreneurs integrate knowledge, unsuccessful entrepreneurs replace knowledge. Okay? And the idea is the following. Instead of thinking it as though there is a dogma, there is a way to do it that apparently works in every market and in every condition and for everybody, what we have to understand is what we need is a foundation, so that we understand what our foundation is, and then what everybody else, even though they may be saying that their way is the only way to do it, we don't believe that to be true, because the only way for us to do it is our way of doing it. And what we're doing is actually creating our own new method, which incorporates pieces of different methods that are out there. So in reality, what you do is you're grounded enough at doing something that then you start stacking stuff on top of your foundation. And every course or every other thing that you take just adds a deeper layer and another way of addressing certain issues or certain things that need to be addressed. However, when we're following what they're saying and we're following the experts' know-how of doing this, a lot of them will say that this is the only way to do it. This is the way that works. But that's because from their standpoint, that's what they're supposed to sell you. So it's the idea of it being the one way to achieve the level of success. But we know functionally that that doesn't invalidate all the other stuff that you've done already, especially if you had some success. There are just a couple of things that you can add to your game that can help you take it further, right? Nobody shows up to LeBron James' house now to teach him how to play basketball, but a coach can show him how to get better at one particular move that he does a certain way, and he could gain a little bit extra if he did it a different way. And that's how you want to think about it. You want to integrate knowledge from different sources versus trying to make one right by making the other ones wrong. In a way, it's like when people talk about music and they say, which band do you prefer, X or Y? Well, guess what? You don't have to choose because you can listen to whatever you want whenever you want to do it. So instead of making it a one versus the other type of scenario, you make it an integration scenario. When in reality what's happening is you are getting your know-how from all these sources, all these experts out there, where I suggest that you do get their products and learn the good parts of what they're saying and what makes them different, but always understand that every single one of these experts will tell you that their way is the only way, because that's a necessity to be able to sell it. You have to convince people that the other methods are not effective and that your method is effective where the rest aren't. But then you come in and not everything is applicable. You may have a business where it's a service business and you're learning about something that's for selling physical products, but you have a service, but that doesn't mean that the concepts and the principles that you have don't make sense. And that's because it leads me to that next idea, which is principles are permanent and tactics are temporary. And when you look at any business, the first thing you can see are the tactics that they're using. But those tactics are always grounded on a principle that works throughout and has worked since forever. You always want to look at those things and understand what they are, because it is by knowing what they are, recognizing what they are, and then leveraging those opportunities the right way that you'll be able to thrive as an entrepreneur. So again, one of my pet peeves is going against that whole thing of dogmatic teaching, because I lived it for so long in my own experience of learning this guy's method, and then this other guy's method came along and it invalidated the first guy's method. That's not true. What happened was I learned a little bit from one of the methods, I learned another bit from another one of the methods. In a way, I see it as though it's different vegetables, but I get to make the salad myself. So everybody comes in with a different vegetable, but at the end of the day, it is my salad, it is my creation, and it is what I do because I am integrating this knowledge so it actually supports me instead of replacing the knowledge that I acquired with the newfound knowledge. So I just wanted to make this recording today just to share with you a big, important piece of this and why it's so important to always think of integration instead of replacement. Till next time, this is Juan Morales signing out. I'll see you on the next one.